Hello and good morning to Wise Women Weekdays, and we are here at the beginning of January 2024 to just chat about our ideas and visions for the new year coming in and what we got up to for the outgoing year in 2023. So I am Natalia.
I'm Lily. Happy New Year.
And I am Lucy. Happy New Year.
Yes, so
Or happy date change.
Happy 2024.
So yes, what we did at New Year's, kind of mine. Yes, I sort of danced it in and haven't been dancing for a very long time. That was at a microbrewery, and there was a DJ with vinyl, which I like, called Lazy Susan. They're a local DJ, and that was pretty nice to just do that.
Dancing in the New Year is always good, isn't it?
Yes,
Like energy-wise.
absolutely. So yeah, I had a sore back after that, but that was it.
Mine was very low-key. I had a games night at a friend's, and there was a karaoke machine that was wheeled out periodically. But I for the first time I brought along some grapes, which is a Spanish tradition. Supposedly it's not that old. It's only from 1800s, but there are historical evidence for maybe it being earlier, so they're not really sure. But it's that you have 12 grapes, and you eat one of them for each bong of the clock. And so there's
Ba-bong.
yeah, and there's this scramble of trying to think up 12 wishes, trying to eat 12 grapes, and trying to count these bongs as they go, and it all just becomes a bit of a mad moment. I remember halfway through being like, how many grapes, how many wishes, I've forgotten what I'm doing. But I managed to eat my grapes, so we'll see if my wishes come true.
Or your grapes, a mouthful of wishes and your grapes come true.
Yeah. Yeah. That was good though.
Nice.
But I think, yeah, I would prefer to do some dancing. I think it's slightly lethargic. But it's about finding the right balance, isn't it? Because I've also overdid it on New Year's, and then you just feel a bit spent and you can feel a little drained. But if it's too low-key, then you just say...
Well, that pressure to have a good time. God,
Oh gosh,
I mean,
I've spoken to people and they say that it's their favourite night of the year, and that banking up that pressure is because not only is it supposed to be a big party night, but it's literally the last day of the year, and that's supposed to have been the best of the other 364, 65 days. Like craziness.
Sure,
Such pressure.
absolutely.
I don't like New Year's Eve.
No.
I don't celebrate it. I stay in because there's often fireworks that scare the dogs.
Sure.
So
Yes.
I keep them nice and calm. I might have people around for lunch, but come sort of 6, 7 o'clock, I want everyone to go. And then I can put the telly on, put my feet up, and just chill. I never stay in to hear the New Year in. I just
know,
don't see the point in it.
Sure.
No.
So there is that for me. I suppose as you get older as well, there's that really. I look forward to the New Year's Day of being able to just have that big long walk out. You know, probably with your dogs or your friends, and just enjoy that kind of frostiness. Although it's unseasonably warm at the moment, but you know, just having had that sort of just freshness of I know it's all in the mind, and it's a false sort of New Year in a sense, because our energies are still very low, and all the land is still very kind of turned in, all the energies, but just that feeling of going and walking and finding a fire and a pub with friends, and
Yes,
just
I like
almost like
that.
it's a day off,
Yeah.
isn't it? So
Yeah.
that I enjoy that, and
that's a celebration as well, and it's more low-key, but it can still be as nourishing or more nourishing than any sort of party, I suppose, because it's swapping stories, it's making time for people, and
yeah. And I've been on, so just, I mean, this is something as well, like kind of organising that, and then a couple of years I've had sort of friends having to back out because they're so ill from alcohol that they either physically can't get out, or they literally are physically sick, you know, on the walk, which is just a shame, you know. But so I kind of find myself, what's the word? Kind of pacing myself into the new year, which I think is a far better way, far more balanced.
Yes,
way of
that's
doing
what I do, because I don't like alcohol consumption. So going out for me on New Year's Eve is pretty horrific, because everybody's drunk. I don't drink, or if I do, then I'm an absolute moron.
I think a lot of people are, they just don't
Yeah.
admit it. And you do.
Yeah, no, I'm hideous when I drink. I'm loud. Well, I'm loud and quite loud anyway, but like super loud and just an arse.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
And
I
it's
mean, not I know because I haven't
embarrassing.
met you when you're like that.
You
But
never will.
okay, good. But yeah, but you had something happen. Was it New Year's Day?
Oh,
Maybe?
Christmas was a
Oh,
whole.
Christmas.
It was all a bit of an event.
Right.
So on Christmas Day, we went to a really lovely pub in Brighton for lunch, and there was a fight in the kitchen.
Oh.
And this man appeared covered in gravy, and it actually made the Christmas meal. I know it's like quite puerile, but it was like everyone was up, like, look what's going on, you know, fight.
Oh wow.
Wow. Covered in gravy. Oh my god, that sounds brilliant.
It was
Yes.
brilliant.
Yeah.
At the Boxing Day, there was more shenanigans down at the Hunt. I have to say that I'm not pro-Hunt, and I'm not pro-Hunt supporter. I'm completely neutral. I do like the horses and the dogs. So I went down there, took my mother and her 81-year-old friend.
Is this in the high street? Where do they?
Outside the law courts in Lewis.
Wow. Okay, that's
Yeah.
quite a small area
It's
to
a
be.
very
like-
small
Yeah, yeah.
area.
How many
Okay.
dogs are meeting?
So I don't know how many dogs there were there, but the dogs were so friendly and so beautiful. And they came up to all the people, and I was stroking this beautiful hound. And then I heard this voice going, "You, madam, are complicit in murder." And I was like, "What do you mean, me?" I said, "I'm stroking a dog and looking at some horses."
Yeah.
And this creature just kept going. And I'm like, I really recommend that you don't do that. Because
Yeah,
it's,
they don't
it's
know
just
you
not
at
cool.
all.
You don't know me.
Yes,
It's rude.
absolutely.
And she pushed me. And I was like, so I grabbed her silly little sign
Yeah.
and I threw it. And I said, I strongly recommend that you go home and leave me alone. And she
Yeah.
was like, I will not. And she slapped my face.
Wow.
Whoa.
I know, right?
Oh my god.
And all these people, including the police, going, we saw that. And it's actually,
Shocking.
it's on the Sussex News. There's me running around in the crowd, and you can see the sab that hit me.
Yeah.
But they're the guys that were there, and some of the women. They were masked. They had their faces hidden. They were intent on violence. They were pushing people with children on their shoulders,
Wow.
and older people. And the protesters made it unsafe for everybody.
Wow.
Gosh.
That's a shame.
There is nothing illegal about riding a horse to dogs.
Sure.
Sure.
But with those sort of people, I mean, because I'm all for peaceful protest, and I think
Yes.
that's very, very important to protect in our society. But there are also people who, especially post-Christmas, you've no idea what they've been going through at home, and they just want to fight, and they're just antagonistic, and they want to just get with and they will hoist their flag on anything
Yes.
if it has the opportunity to get Larry.
Yeah.
And that is what's so sad, because it's also they are a repressed person themselves. They
Yes,
can't just
absolutely.
have that conversation and be like, I'm actually having a really shit time. Can I maybe go down my local and have a proper mitted up boxing? Can we do something like that to expel that sort of energy?
Well, absolutely. We were talking about this last night as well. Kind of like just this, time of year, and so many kind of repressed energies and kind of familial and all that sort of thing that get kind of like expressed. But then the point is as well that it was the wrong person she was attacking. You are not kind of pro-Hunt as
Yes.
such. And the assumptions, that's what we were kind of like talking about as well, is like all our assumptions just build up this energy, and that they're very, very often misplaced, and they make us very tense and very kind of aggressive and single-minded. And there's a case in point.
Yes.
I mean,
My friend pointed out that I do dress like a Tory twat.
note to self: do
Note
not
to
dress up
self,
as a
Tory
and go
twat.
to the cunt.
But I didn't actually think on this occasion that I did. I was wearing a nice suede coat and lovely woolen trousers and a cashmere jumper and, you know, nice Grenson boots. Okay, yeah, it's a Tory twat outfit.
But that's just the assumption.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
Yes.
shocking.
That is dress, and the wrong person.
Yes.
It's like that is almost
The wrong
cliched,
person in
isn't
many
it?
ways.
Yeah.
Because the end of the Sussex News clip, you see me like moving at speed, not running because I don't run, after this woman behind a police van, but it was like properly riotous.
Wow.
And I was not concerned about my mother in situations like that because she literally puts the battle into battle axe. Her friend is much more genteel.
Really? Yeah, gosh, at 81 as well. Blimey.
Yeah, mums. I mean, honestly, but I can
Yeah,
only
they've lived
remind
through
my own
a
mum.
different time, haven't they? So.
Mums, yeah.
Yes, yeah,
Bless them.
yes.
Oh, wow. Shocking.
But then, how we find our mothers frustrating, our daughters must feel the same way about us.
Yes. Well, you can voice something about that.
Yeah, I think speaking from my experience with you, I think you've worked really hard to have a much better relationship with your daughter than your mum has ever tried to have with you. So I think you very consciously made a decision for the stuff that you really struggled with to end with that previous generation and to move forward positively and with love and all of that. We still have our moments, and I think
Spats. They're really interesting to watch as well.
Oh God! But also
They
my
go
friends
like
being
that.
like, "Oh, it's really interesting how you and your mum behave to each other, isn't it? Like it's more like sisters." I'm like, "Is it?" And I mean,
That's
no,
what,
no, sorry.
that's what me and my daughter are like when we're actually talking. Because we can be arguing one minute and then like cuddling each other the next. And I'm like it with my mum. And then when we're all together, mum will say, "You two stop fucking swearing." But you just swore. No, I didn't. I don't swear. But you just did.
That's why you need to start setting up little hidden cameras, just to prove.
Oh, and then she'll own it. She goes, "Okay, but I only swear because you two make me swear."
Oh, nice one, Mum.
Yeah. Perfect. This time of year, it's very interesting.
Vision board. Sorry.
Or just
Vision boards,
vision boards, or if you're the sort of person that makes New Year's resolutions, which I sort of like the idea, because I know the start of, even if it's the start of the month or the start of a new week, it's a sort of energy that helps push people forward. So I think maybe allowing your brain to think about the year to come. But this year I've very consciously not made any New Year's resolutions as such, because I don't feel my head is in the right place yet to do that, whether it's because I haven't got the energy, or I just haven't sat with what I actually want to do for the rest of the year, and it's still quite an inward time. But I'd like to maybe make an intention by the end of January, because I think that's more natural for things start to sort of come back alive and unfurl and stretch out more.
Yeah, that's what I'm waiting for, is in bulk.
Yeah.
In bulk. I could never say that word properly. It's a funny word.
It is a funny word.
But I think my intention is to be unapologetically myself.
Great.
Like everyone else.
Yeah.
Because I tend to tone myself down, especially around men, to make myself more pleasing. And I don't want to be pleasing to men. I don't need one or want one. So why do I need to be pleasing to them?
Great.
Yeah, I mean, yes, absolutely. I just think, even forget men in this particular scenario, just that sort of commitment to yourself is a great one. Just who you are. That's
And
good
keep checking
enough.
in with who you are as well, because it's okay to change. And I know we've touched on how your views have changed and over the last few years, and that being amazing and fantastic to keep evolving and to keep checking and going, actually, is that still my truth? And then to go, if it isn't, okay, let's move.
Yes. If it isn't, you need to look at why that is no longer your truth and move through that rather than staying stuck.
Yeah.
Because I think, oh, maybe people just think I'm a contradiction. Actually, no, I'm not a contradiction. I'm an intelligent person that learns.
Yeah.
Sure, but also, I mean, just in the last sort of years, I mean, I know this is sort of possibly very obvious, but, you know, I've just come to realise that all of us are paradoxes. We're just made up of all sorts of, potentially, if you have very rigorous outlines for certain things, you know, things that are contradictory. We're all made up like that, and sort of you know, to be sort of quite black and white about it, you know, the dark side and the light side. But we all have those nuances, those particular experiences that we've learned things from, our kind of desires of possibly who we want to be. But a lot of them contradict each other. If you sort of say, oh, well, actually, you're this, but you do that, how does that add up? You know, but that person is already placing on you a criteria of what you should be. You know, you should either be this or that, and not neither the twain can meet, kind of thing. But that's not true. We all are a whole hodgepodge of things.
Because I could feel happy and sad at the same time. Last night I did that. I subscribed to a meditation app. Obviously, I won't say the name because we're not advertising for free. But they have this lovely page where you can go on and choose how you're feeling. And I was like, well, I feel happy, I feel unsure, and I feel grateful. But I could only pick one.
Oh.
And I was like, well, one just doesn't do it, because as human beings, we can have a multitude of emotions.
Especially as women.
Yeah. At once, about different things.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yes. Just going on from the New Year's resolutions I did. So, and you talking about sort of changing, so in the last few years, I've kind of grown to realise that by the end of the preceding year, things are kind of coming in where I'm actually observing how I'm feeling and what seemed to be working or not working that year. And in the time frame from Samhain, which is the 31st of October through to December, there's a kind of mulching time where unconsciously, and then coming up to my consciousness, is a sort of these kind of little headlines for me. Like, and this time is, you know, my health has been not good, and I've had to really focus on myself this year, but through a lot of pain and all that sort of, and difficulty. Whereas, like, now I'm thinking, okay, this new year, I just want to nurture myself. I want to, again, like you said, focus on myself, but in a kind of more joyful and caring and creative way. And that's sort of come to me through the last sort of weeks and months of last year. And it becomes so, you know, this idea of a New Year's resolution. And of course, the time of year at the moment is all the seeds are dormant in the earth, waiting for that energy, the sun's energy. And that's when Imbolc is the first, isn't it, of that kind of drive, the beginning of spring. And so we were talking with our friend, you know, about people seem to be doing vision boards already.
Yes,
you know,
she's really enthusiastic about hers. I love that.
And it's just like, yes, kind of fill your imagination with
so
visions.
Is this actual, like, good old-fashioned cut and paste?
Yeah, great.
So I've got one that I made back in 2014, and I get it out and I look at it and I was like, yeah, it's still the same.
Yes,
really?
Still,
yes.
Yeah, horses, dogs.
Yes.
Yeah, educate myself, stay awake.
Yes.
And it doesn't seem to change from one year to the next.
And have you
That's
seen things that have now been attained, or you've progressed in that?
All of them,
That's amazing.
except the horse thing.
Right.
Because I still haven't got on a horse yet since 2008, and I need to do it.
Okay, and is that something to overcome for you?
No, it's not fear.
Oh.
It's just that every time I go riding, something happens. Like in 2022, I was going to walk up to the stable in Lewes, and I got run over at the Marks and Spencer's garage.
Oh,
Wow.
blimey.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we weren't hurt. There was me and both the dogs. The guy wasn't looking where he was going, and I banged on the bonnet, and he carried on moving the car forward. And then I said, "You need to look where you're effing driving, you stupid
Bleep, bleep, bleep.
bleep, bleep, bleep." And he went, "Do you mind not using language like that in front of my children?" Not, "I've just run you over, I'm really sorry, I've run you and your dogs over." He was more concerned about the language his children heard.
Wow. Wow. That's shocking.
Isn't it?
Yes.
Well, now he's been shamed on YouTube. He was driving a black Volvo.
And the
It
license
says
plate
it all,
was.
doesn't it?
Having said that, right, so part of my New Year, so I tried this at the beginning of last New Year, and that was a failure because I realised that I didn't know myself at all. And I had a girlfriend who was dating, and she's queen of dating on date sites, and I kind of approached the line, the precipice, about to step off, and I realised I was absolutely terrified because I didn't have any boundaries, to sort of say who I am, what I want, and all that. And it's taken me a year to kind of go to counselling and then have the courage to go, okay, I'm ready to kind of just face that. And
She's now on the sites. Get swiping.
And
It's
so
scary.
it is scary, but I think I'm in the right frame of mind now. It's been a good while, I would say, but it's another aspect of life that hasn't, I feel like I'm ready to have a kind of, a good partnership, a companionship, all that means. And for the first time, it's not something I'm sort of obsessing about, but it feels exciting in a kind of quiet way, as opposed to last year, which was terrifying, actually. I didn't realise it until my friend said about one kind of potential date, and it went for whatever reason, and she said, "Oh, well, you were sitting on the fence about that one, weren't you?" And it literally, it was the hammer on the nail, because I realised she was absolutely right, and why was I doing that? And I realised all the stories she used to tell me about her dating experiences. I was like, how can you withstand all that? That's so terrifying. I wouldn't know sort of where I would be after any of that. And that's when I realised I needed to take myself off to a counsellor.
Yeah. Because being on those dating apps is absolutely brutal.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, not fun, guys.
Not fun.
I mean, it should be. It should be lovely and fluffy, and but it's not.
Well, no, because it still concerns the heart, especially when when you're looking for love or companionship. There's a vulnerability there, isn't it? That you don't have the sort of spikiness of like, yeah, I'm just in it for the sex, or I'm just in it to meet whoever. Lucky them, lucky me. Whereas if you're looking for something soft and squishy,
yes,
that is.
It's like archaeology, actually. It's excavating
with brushes.
Yeah,
and there are some fossils on there too. I actually went on to one of the sites. I think years and years ago. It must be like 15 years ago now, and I got chatting to this armed response officer.
Wow.
And he was very sexy. And it was just as photo phones were coming through, and I had a BlackBerry. And I checked my phone, there's a message from him, and he'd sent me a photo of himself, stark bollock naked, holding an enormous gun with a helmet on.
Woohoo.
And his thing was standing to attention.
Oh my God, Rambo.
So he couldn't have taken the picture himself. His mate must have taken it.
Oh wow. Oh my
Quite
God.
unbelievable.
Yes.
I went on a date with him anyway.
Just for a laugh. Wow. Is that it? I
Brave
mean,
woman.
yeah, the
God.
dick pic phenomena is amazing, isn't it? Just that whole thing of, I know what we need here. Like, the jokes aren't working, so let's go in with the artillery.
Yes. Absolutely.
Does any woman actually go, Oh, he sent me a picture of his willy. He must really like me.
I bet he's never done that for anybody else.
But the thing is, they all look the same anyway.
Sure.
Yes.
They look nice often.
Oh.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Gosh.
Yes.
Yeah. So your vision boards.
Mm.
Have you started? Are you going to be vision boarding? You've done yours.
I'm
you've
going to
done yours.
stick mine out again.
Yeah.
I think, like you, I'll be ready to do one beginning of February. I feel this is still a very sort of everything is coming down to settle as well, and there isn't quite the energy. There's the energy of ideas, but not the sort of physical drive to do it and to materialise it. So, yeah, I think by February that'll be in place, and I'll have a good sense.
Maybe you could arrange a little social event with some friends and get a stack of magazines and make
That would be great. That's a great
brunch.
idea.
That's how my last vision board came about. It was we actually did it in circle,
Oh, lovely.
and everyone was just quiet, cutting and sticking, and I had glitter pens that I was sharing with everybody.
Maybe I will do a
Yeah.
circle, and that and you're both invited. But
Oh,
I
that would
like
be
maybe about 5 of us would be a nice, or 6.
Yeah,
and just
and also ask people to bring.
magazines.
some
That's the
bits
thing, because if you've got your own magazines, you kind of it's
Yeah.
it's that factor of mix and matching,
Yes.
isn't it? The one vision board I did, which was years ago, I was actually I did it with went to
But was
a
that
workshop.
wasn't that just a cutting and paste?
It
thing?
was, but I was quite angry at the time, and I remember the energy. Lily did a beautiful
It
piece
was
of
beautiful. Even if I say
artwork,
so myself.
and I was there like, "Ugh," and it was quite crude, but the elements in it just
There were
like
wolves
you,
and trees and
there were
things.
wolves. I had this wolf coming down a river, and one of its eyes I put the world in. So there was a small world in one of its eyes, and then there were hands round these trees and stuff. And it was like, be the change you want to see in the world, which is that classic quote. And that, I mean, when you say getting that out, I didn't like it as a visual piece at all. It was like, oh God, this holds the anger that I feel.
But that
But
possibly quite cathartic.
It
then,
was
to get
cathartic,
out.
but it actually absolutely sort of described the future that I got into, which was actually, quite a few years afterwards, the Extinction Rebellion and all that.
Did you do the Extinction Rebellion stuff? Were you involved?
Actually, Lily and I, when we were sitting in Lewis, when I lived there, she had come down to stay for a couple of nights, and she said, "Oh, Mum," she had her laptop out, and she said, "I think you'd be interested in this." And it was the first post that they'd put out. Was it on YouTube or was it on it was definitely a social media. And she said, "Oh, this is a."
Was it the march that we were going to go?
It was the very first. So it literally was Gail Bradbrook kind of describing,
The call to arms.
the call to arms, but describing the situation where we were and the lack of government, response to the environment and all sorts of things. And then it was, if you are interested, anybody out there, this is what we're going to do. And we just looked at each other. I said, "Shall we do it?" And we just said yes. And
She's been convicted for criminal damage, breaking a £27,000 window at the transport Department for Transport.
Well, I hope some funds will be provided to cover that,
Yeah.
because this is a.
Well, she's been charged actually. I think it's been extended.
But so that was, quite a while ago. That was the very beginning, and I was involved with it for 2 years, and as a camera woman, I was
See,
also doing
these
that.
organisations like Extinction Rebellion, Just Stop Oil, when they do these things, like stick themselves to a valuable piece of art or damage something or stop people moving about their day and people getting to hospital appointments, I completely lose all sympathy with them. Because they're actually, I feel that it's quite incongruent. So they're damaging stuff by using glue, which then needs a glue remover that is all bad for the environment. but to save the environment.
Sure, but I mean, okay, this is on the back of the government having done nothing for 30 years, which is like we are now, well, we can see with our environment, we are critical mass. And to, you know, we used to get people saying, oh, you're stopping traffic, you're doing this, you know, we would, the ambulances used to go through, but we think this is an emergency. If, as Greta Thunberg would say, you know, if your house was burning, what would you do? Would you start sort of telling people off?
If my
who
house was burning, I'd throw Greta Thunberg in the fire.
Okay, but so that fine. But the point is, well, her message is, this is what's happening to our earth. What are we going to do about it? And you can't sit around talking anymore because the talking is done. People, this
and
is
the whole
what
thing
I feel
about like
so strongly about.
protest is disruptive in its nature. The idea of major things have only been overturned because of protest, and you can go and sit on a step quietly and people will walk over you. The idea is to disrupt normal life until you're heard, and that's still done peacefully. There's no aggression to it, but it's about being noticed, because otherwise it's business as usual, and business as usual has not worked.
Still. I mean, the point is, or I mean, and we won't go into this really. I don't think it's appropriate on this thing, our chat show. But just the fact that when Extinction Rebellion started, as an individual, I couldn't talk to my family. I mean, and I've got an open family. I couldn't talk to friends. It was taboo to talk about the environment in the way that it needed to be talked about. And when it came along, to me, it was an answer to the prayer, because in the 2 years just I was involved with before the pandemic, the climate came to the top of the agenda, and that was David Attenborough, Greta Thunberg, Extinction Rebellion. You know, pull together all the efforts of those people, and then people were talking about it, and it became normalised. You know, it's still not being responded to. We still have the government investing in oil,
And
which we shouldn't
driving, flying around in the private jets.
Absolutely, sending rockets up to the, you know, all this is blatant.
David Attenborough talks about it, I take it seriously. When Greta Thunberg rants about it, I just think she's a jumped up narcissistic child and needs a good slap.
Yeah, so we can
Yes, I'm
beg to
promoting
disagree
child
on
abuse.
that. but the thing is, it's the message. So to me, and people say to me, oh, but I'm not sure, you know, that the climate change is actually happening, because people have suggested that, you know, the scientists say that it's not necessarily true. The point is, again, I say, it's the time of just sitting and talking is over. Either you get up and you investigate yourself, and we all are here to talk truth and to, as you say, research and learn about things. So if you have a viewpoint, go and investigate. Do not just listen to the status quo.
I don't really have an opinion on climate change. I'm just I don't know enough about it. I believe that it hasn't been settled scientifically, but I could be wrong. It could be man-made, it could just be natural. I really don't have an answer to it, but so I don't take action. I mean, I do my recycling, and I don't own a car, so I don't add to CO2. You know, I live in a low energy house, so I'm kind of doing my bit.
Sure. Absolutely. So I felt, I mean, I love nature.
I love nature.
You know, so to me, it's like a child, my child, in the sense of like, you know, what would you do with your child? How would you respond to your child? And I think that if you respond out of love, then you want to do something that's about care. And I don't mean pontificating, because we, you know, Mother Nature is supreme. I mean, she will just crush us. She will, you know, she already is. But the point is, it's about us coming into balance.
Yes.
With our natural world, with ourselves.
Eco, not ego.
Totally. And
Yeah,
absolutely.
no, I like that.
Yeah.
And just, you know, if you come from if you are prepared to change and transform and look at how, to me, David Attenborough, said on Radio 4 in 2008, he was asked at the end of a short programme what things, just in very brief, would he do at this tipping point in the world, and he said, educate women and harness the sun. So that was his. So, and they are amazing kind of things to say, and he's coming from an empathetic and understanding perspective, and I would just champion that. That's it,
Yeah.
So I have, I'm not part of Extinction Rebellion anymore. I've taken about, because I believe in more of a spiritual approach.
Yes,
now,
I agree with the spiritual approach.
And so that's where I'm at now, and being on programmes like this, where we're talking about life and living. And that's where I feel that it's more about people thinking and taking their own responsibility for themselves, because we have a discussion, and everybody can be part of that discussion, and then we take responsibility for ourselves and what we feel and believe.
And people remembering the connection as well, because that whole thing of the ability to kind of step back and sort of numb ourselves because we don't feel connected to our natural world, because we are removed from it, is a very privileged position. But I think it's done unconsciously, because so many people love nature. That's why Blue Planet is still one of the highest rating things on TV when it comes out. But then people can watch that and be hooked for an hour and then go about their daily life, and they don't have any connection with the natural world. And it's about bringing that into the everyday and bringing it into the consciousness, and whether that's spiritually, whether it's maybe donating to animal charities, whatever connects to your soul and connects you to the movement, or
Because there's some good stuff going on around Lewes. They're encouraging the water meadows down by the Ouse.
Yes.
And we were on top of the downs yesterday and looking out onto the water meadows, which were flooded.
Yes.
And it was an astonishing sight.
Yes.
And it's bringing all the beautiful wetland birds back in.
Yes.
And I love that.
Yeah.
But the flip side of that is that the South Down National Park is allowing more and more developments to be built on greenfield site,
Sure. Yes.
which is not acceptable.
Wow.
Yes.
I mean, the Eton Newtown development.
Yes.
What's it going to achieve?
Yes.
It's going to just decimate beautiful countryside. There is no infrastructure to support it, so it's going to negatively impact the environment, the living conditions of people that are already here and the people that are moving in. So the only thing it will do is profit.
Yes,
Eton.
profit. Oh my God. Yeah, if we could take financial gain out of all the things that are negatively impacting, they wouldn't be there, basically.
Sure.
It's just so short-sighted.
Yes, the word crisis just generates money. But you can follow it back, follow the money, and you see why the crisis has been constructed.
Yes, because then if you create the crisis, then you can create the
Market?
or the solution.
Yes,
It's
market
supply and
solution.
demand, right? You
Absolutely.
go, I've broken your cup. Oh, I can go and buy you another one. There you go.
Well, you can buy one from me.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, there was that incident that started in 2020 that shut people into their homes. They came out with a solution that made a certain faction of society very wealthy.
Oh.
And, I wonder if there's an element to that attached to the climate crisis as well. They're meeting this in a certain way. And who stands to profit? The people that build the electric cars, the people that build the
That's definitely not a solution.
air
for sure.
source heat
Absolutely.
pumps, which actually use more electricity
Of course. I mean,
and create more
the national
money.
grid
Yeah.
is absolutely not coping anymore with, we've actually had alerts or kind of alarms sort of being told kind of about people not using washing machines or plugging into it in the north, because of course there's no extra kind of enough energy being produced to support all this. And certainly meanwhile the government is supporting. I think they implemented 100 sort of oil-based projects last year, crude oil projects. So going in the opposite, the wrong direction. But yeah, so I just thinking about this program, just changing the subject from doom and gloom. I just thought to bring it back, because we talked about nature, and this is all about nature as well, was that thinking about our senses and this idea of this perfume that we were talking about, and just the ideas of, at this time of year, what smells and beautiful kind of aromas that arrive from either the natural environment or the things that we bring into the home to create a scent. And just thinking about that for this season.
Fir trees, we bring bits of fir tree in, and that smells amazing. Does holly have a smell?
Ooh.
I don't think
I think
it
it
does.
just smells green.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't think you would extract something that's a definitive holly smell. I don't think.
Bay. We talked about
Bay
bay.
is one of my
haven't
favourite
we?
smells.
Yes.
So aromatic.
Snow.
Snow has
Smelling
a smell.
snow.
Yeah.
I mean, that
Yeah.
has a smell,
And
doesn't it?
call me mad, but I think antifreeze has an element of that, and I don't know why, and I don't know the chemical composition of antifreeze, but there is something in that when you smell snow in the air is reminiscent of for me.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And you've got quite a highly developed nose.
When it works.
And things like tangerine,
Yes.
Yeah.
and clove.
Yeah, so the cool and the warm, and then how
Yeah.
they work together as well. Imagine like a frosted clementine, would be nice.
Because there are a
Whoa.
lot of smells over the winter period. I mean, wood smoke.
Yes.
Wood smoke.
Oh,
Yeah.
when, like on a crisp walk, country
Yes.
walk, and you get a waft of wood
Yes.
smoke.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Kill me.
I do love an open fire.
Me too.
Frankincense.
Oh yeah, frankincense
I
is
love
a good one.
frankincense as well.
Yes.
That always reminds me of our lovely mad red-headed friend. I'm not saying her name, but she knows who she is. Love you.
Yeah. So
Brown butter.
wow.
Like
yes.
those cooking smells as
Yeah.
well. So slightly brown.
Caramelized.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh yes, of course.
Even like a warm oven, and you've preheated the oven, and so it's slightly dry, it's slightly reminiscent of other foodie smells, and you open it up to put whatever else you're putting in there, and the smell of a warm oven.
mulled wine.
Yeah.
Or even cider.
And I've got a perfume that I bought from the shop that you used to work in. Obviously, we're not going to say the name. 'cause
Oh,
it's
really?
advertising. And it's caramel, vanilla, and I like to wear that at Christmas because it's got all those rich, deep smells.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
And it's named after my grandma as well.
Is
Constance.
it changing Constance? Yeah, I was
Yeah.
going to say.
Yeah.
Oh,
Wow.
how lovely.
Which I think has been discontinued now.
No way.
Yeah.
That's one of their nicest ones.
Oh, really? Do you
Yeah.
like sweet fragrances?
Yeah, I like that one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Nice.
but only at a certain time of year. I wouldn't wear it in the summer.
Great. I love that. I think especially since I worked in a fragrance house, I am much more liberal with fragrance. And that's what I love. Like, I was speaking to somebody and they say, gosh, I wear fragrance a few times a year because I like to keep it for special, which I think is lovely for them. But I feel naked without a fragrance on. The same, like I would choose lipstick and perfume just to nip down to the shops or something. I'm one of those people. And I change fragrance depending on mood, season, whether I'm going out, all of that. And it's so
I think
evocative.
it is, and it is a real luxury though.
It is.
Because to have pure essences. Because I can't have any chemical. I just literally my body won't support it, or so it has to be any something pure.
Good quality.
Yes, I
Yeah,
suppose.
I don't think I
And
would
that's
wear any of the Katie
expensive.
Price perfumes.
No, I haven't smelt them.
I wouldn't want to.
Yeah.
I would just to be interested. Because I don't know how
cheap.
celebrity fragrances work. Whether they actually do have a hand in there, or whether it's just slapped. I remember when I was in my Michael Jackson phase, which I did have a Michael Jackson phase when I was about 7. There was in Poundland there was a Michael Jackson fragrance that I bought, and it smelled just like
Was it £1?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I like going into Poundland and asking the staff, how much is this?
Well, I've heard of you people.
I've got too much time on my hands. I haven't done it for a long time. It's like going to the flea market and asking, where are the fleas?
Yeah.
I think it's hilarious.
Testing their customer service.
Yes.
Yeah, but just whether they have a hand in it, whether these celebrities, maybe this is a too general a question, but I'm sure some of them are more interested than others, or whether it's just a marketing thing and they'll slap their face on any sort of toilet water. Because I think creating a fragrance is magic. Like,
Yes,
imagine
it's
if
alchemy.
it's personal as well. Yeah.
What is it that you call, when there's a
Dry
name,
down.
Dry down.
What you're left with, and that's the thing that is more likely to be different person to person because of our own skin oils and the composition of our skin
and our own body odor.
your body odor and even the heat, how hot you are, because if you're a hot-blooded person, you'll get to the dry down much faster than somebody who's a
Can you
lizard.
smell that? You might recognise it.
No, it smells lovely. It smells nice and creamy though. What is it?
Yeah, Helvetii.
Oh, really?
Wow.
I'm wearing
It
Helvetii.
smells totally different.
That's my daily fragrance. And we're sniffing each other now.
Yes,
We're like
this isn't very good for you.
a pack of dogs.
You're not smelling
Yeah,
the
it
butt
smells
end, though.
different.
It does. Yours smells much sweeter, and also, what's the word? Where you like the high? It has a top note.
Yeah.
It sort of quite citrus. There's almost a citrus in yours.
There is
and-
citrus in how
Okay, but yours
lemon.
is more.
Yeah.
I would say musky, but you would say that.
Well,
was,
yes, and I mean, so in Helvetii there's it's a black rose and leather and oud and all of that. So
Lovely.
very rich, oriental.
I'd love to go. Maybe as a birthday treat in spring. It would be nice to go to a perfume shop and properly go through smells, because I find I get overwhelmed so quickly, especially if it's sort of as if you're in there for 10 minutes or whatever, and you're supposed to know what you want or where your areas, and within 6 minutes I'm so overwhelmed by all the different smells, and I'm trying to work out whether I like it, when I would wear it, all those sorts of things, and it's just too much for me. I need to just take it very slowly and maybe go out for a coffee, then come back in again.
And also hopefully the person there will be helping you, and obviously if you're in a certain perfume house, they will know their collection inside and out, and a lot of it. So this is how we used to work in the shop that I was in. We wouldn't ask people necessarily what they like, because more often than not people don't know what they like, and we've got this idea that lavender is an old lady scent, whereas something like fougere, which we were talking about it being perfect for this time of year because it means fern and it's about green and it's aromatic and it's gorgeous, that has a lavender component. But the moment you say it's got lavender in it, if somebody hears that, oh no, it's old lady, before they've even smelled it, before they've even made their own like thought process around it, they'll say no, I don't like that, or floral, oh I don't like floral, and then you'll give them a floral and they'll, oh that's lovely, what's that? Well, that's floral.
Because as you explained, there's a
connotation,
a top note, a middle note, and a base note. Is that right? So yeah, I just thought, because I'm not sure how long we've been here for, but to just finish on creating what we would put in as the top, middle, and base note of our
seasonal fragrance.
Of creating a
nice.
seasonal fragrance right now. What elements we would like to have in there?
I would have a top note of bergamot and jasmine.
Oh,
With a nice rose as the middle note, and patchouli, maybe oud, or sandalwood as the base.
Lovely.
Wow.
That sounds great.
Or maybe some violet in there, or lavender.
Ooh, yes, how lovely. That would, for me, would be quite summery. I'm going to sneeze.
It makes my mouth water when I think about fragrance.
Oh, really?
Yes. It's that synesthesia thing.
Oh my God, we're going to do a
Yeah.
program. I would love to do a cooking program with you and just talk about the synesthesia that you cook with. So
do you have synesthesia?
Yeah, and I think you do too.
Do I?
Because you said something earlier.
Yeah.
Made me think, wonder if Lily's got synesthesia.
Oh, a friend of mine, I haven't seen her in years, but she had it that each letter of the alphabet had a different colour. So you'd say
Yeah.
B, and she'd go, yeah, it's sage green. And
Yeah.
that was how she connected with it. That's just amazing.
I think that's magic.
Names have smells for me, and there's some names, Kelly and Julie, that I absolutely cannot stand because of the way that they smell. Julia,
Oh.
fine, but Julie, it's so fishy. It really grosses me out.
Wow. And so you don't have any friends with those names because of that reason?
Oh no, I have friends called Julie. Sorry, Julies.
Sorry, Julies.
But I'll call them Jules or Jew instead, so I don't get the fish.
Yes.
Wow. And is that from your own past? Or
I have
that's...
no idea why Julies smell of fish.
Wow.
But my ex, he had an affair with a woman called Julie, and her flat was a bit skanky.
Oh.
So maybe that's the fishy aroma comes from that,
Maybe.
because she was a bit.
Yeah. Ooh,
So
yeah.
just kind of like back to the perfume, the base note, that whole thing of it needing to be like some of the
grounded
grounded notes, like that might sort of not necessarily be particularly nice smelling on their own, but when they're mixed and melded with other
like the anal glands of the civet cat. And
yes, exactly.
How do they get the?
They don't anymore. I think it's been probably a couple of 100 years since they did that, and I don't know the surgical procedure.
And musk, you were saying.
Yeah,
is
so
the
musk now.
glands.
I'm not sure, but most fragrance houses would use a synthetic musk now,
Okay.
and ambergris, which is essentially whale vomit.
Yeah.
Which gives like a rich, salty, fatty quality to a fragrance. Again, is synthetic, and there are
So where do you get whale vomit from?
well, it floats.
Oh,
So it's a blob, a globule, flotsam and jetsam,
yeah.
and then that would be collected. But again, I don't think that's really harvested anymore.
So have we got a seasonal? All those things you said were gorgeous, but you said they're quite. I would add. Now, where would the smell of snow go in the top middle?
Well, and how would we get, so what's that place? I think it's in Switzerland. I can't remember, but they their job is to find the smell of snow or to extract the smell of a rock. So because smells come from oils, and you can't get a smell from something without oil. So for example, a raspberry, which doesn't have any oil, they would magic up the smell of a raspberry if you wanted something a bit fruity and fresh.
Yes.
So yes, to create snow. Well, for me, obviously, it would be antifreeze.
Yeah, just spray that
a
on.
little spritz of antifreeze.
Okay.
So I suppose it would, I imagine, be a top or a middle note
Yes.
snow, because it's something that it's almost like a whiff of it, and it wouldn't be warm.
Sure. No, it wouldn't.
Or dry.
It would, but and also wood smoke. How would that sort of, so Lapsang Souchong tea has got that.
One of my favourite fragrances has tea in it.
Right.
Slightly smoky, dry again, woody, but without it being heavy.
Yeah, so you'd have to sort of sweeten that up a bit,
Yeah.
wouldn't you?
And then that's where you bring in things like fig or coumarin, which is gives almost like a hay-like quality, so it's still dry.
Cumin as well. I mean, cumin.
Yes, well, cumin in fragrance, I remember, gives a skin-like quality.
Right.
So like warm
lovely. So
skin.
warm. So warm on that. I mean,
But not sweaty.
Yeah.
Yeah, although
But maybe.
yes, because some people. So cardamom is another fragrance that I love, but some people think it smells sweaty. But I can understand what they mean. But it's clean sweat. It doesn't smell like BO. It's that warm, sticky skin.
Yes.
But some men, when they have BO, they actually smell great.
That's
like,
pheromones,
whoa.
isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. That means you'd make good children, probably, with them.
Yes. That's
I didn't feel that about the two men that I made children with.
Wow.
Maybe that was the problem. So what would you add just to the...
I love
season.
cedar.
Yes.
Definitely some cedar wood. Anything in the middle. Bay. We've spoken about bay as well. I love aromatic That would be lovely.
Anything like tangerine? I mean, I know you said so it's just tangerines or clementine.
Yeah, definitely bergamot again. Like you
Yes,
said.
yes.
A little bit of freshness.
I only learnt today from Lily that bergamot is a citrus fruit.
It's a
just like
citrus fruit
yes.
from what's that place? Sicily.
Okay, wow.
I'm not sure if this is true or not, but I think the mafia control the production and the sales of bergamots, which is why they are so difficult to get. But there's a lovely health food shop in Lewes that sells them, and I bought some and made a bergamot cordial.
Wow, so they must be
Wow.
connected to the mafia somehow. And that's a whole other programme. Oh wow, gosh, that's interesting.
Wow.
It
yes.
might not be right. Because I know things that I think might be right, and they're not always right. So.
Sure.
Yes.
I do
Hearsay.
that too.
Hearsay.
Great.
Yes.
Well, let's go make our fragrance. That would be
Yes,
You
absolutely.
can actually do that. There's a shop in Brighton where you can go and make your own fragrance, and there's that big, beautiful shop in London that sells the lovely silk scarves.
Oh yes.
I think you can do a bespoke perfume in there.
Oh ooh.
Wow. Wonder if they have snow.
Yeah, a little spritz of snow.
There is a company, a perfume house, that has got a perfume that smells like, when it rains in the summer.
Oh,
Yes.
yes.
Oh, I can't remember the name of
Petrichor.
that. Petrichor, that's it.
Yeah.
It's to
Wow.
capture the petrichor smell.
Yes. That is so many people talk about that as it being evocative. I think for me, I was familiar with that at school because the playground, like at playtime, you'd come out and that would be the smell that
It was
hit
an
you.
amazing
The rainy,
smell,
rainy streets of London after a storm. Then there's that smell, but then there's the rain, like the woods after the rain as
that
well.
mulchiness.
So that
and-
absolutely yes, bringing up almost like the bark and the mulch smell. That's a very distinctive smell as well, isn't it? Lovely.
And car pollution does interfere with all of that.
Sure, indeed. Well, that was a lovely New Year discussion chat. Maybe some of you out there will be making your own perfumes.
Yes, let us know how you capture snow.
Yes.
Inspired by this. And we are wishing you a good New Year 2024 and look forward to seeing you on our other programmes as well. So
Yes,
thank you and
like
goodbye.
and subscribe.
Bye.
Thank you and
Bye.
bye-bye. Yeah.